welcome to Charts and Hearts. I'm Sarah, and she's Lindsay.
And together we're working our way through an epic list of rom-coms in order to find and categorize tropes in the hopes of creating the nerdiest spreadsheet podcasts I've ever seen.
And today we're wrapping up Sandra Bullock month with 2 weeks' notice. Yep. This was interesting.
Yeah, I think I only watched it once, which, watching it again, I understand why.
I remember liking it, but I think I really just liked the party scene, like the gala scene, and then like the very end.
Yeah.
And so I think I gave it more credit than it deserves.
Yeah.
But there are points that I liked, but
it's lacking in the comedy. Like,
yeah,
it's trying to be funny, but it's not.
Yeah, I guess that some of it is like the workplace comedy of like her, strapping herself to wrecking balls and stuff isn't that funny. Mm-hmm. But maybe it used to be. I don't know.
And then the whole pooping thing in the RV, I was just like, you're a grown adult, you were having problems when you got in the car before you left, and you know how bridges work, so what? Get out and go to the bathroom in many places. Like, why is this a thing that you have to do? You're not on the highway. Like,
and also helicopters can't just land in parking lots of strip malls.
No. It's
like maybe in like a national emergency or something, but not just like a private helicopter. One thing I did like about this movie, or like the concept of this movie, is so this movie came out in 2002, and the original plan when it was written was for it to film in Toronto. And Sandra Bullock pushed for it to film in New York, both because it's set in New York and it was a very like New York based movie, and also like the 2001, 2002, like New York needing some economic stimulus and support. So she pushed for this movie to get made in New York, even though it would have cost more. Which I think is awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And, it definitely needed to be actually in New York.
Yeah, it needed that specificity.
Yeah, yeah.
And the, filming on location and the crowds and the, Rex, it's not actually a community center that the building that they save in real life. It's a restaurant, but, that cool building in Coney Island.
Yeah.
I also feel like we should put the Taylor Swift Coney Island song on the playlist. I don't know, just because that's now what I think of when I hear Coney Island. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, our patrons get access to an awesome playlist of songs from all of our movies. It's
so random, and it's the best.
It's super random and makes me really happy. Okay. I guess we should do a little plot summary?
Yeah, so
I think it can be quick.
She is a kooky lawyer who's so kooky. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And, protests things for reasons. Mm-hmm. And
well, she's very into a little bit environmentalism. Like, she says she's an environmental lawyer, but she's really more into, building conservation.
Yeah.
She's saving old buildings.
Mm-hmm. Which is fine, and that's perfectly an appropriate thing to be into. It's just that they didn't really know how to make her be a person.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So she's there, she's kooky, she's a lawyer who's very smart and did all these things, but works at legal aid, which is also a fine thing to do. It just is one of those weird things where she can, get jobs at the fanciest places in all the land, and then just goes back and lives with her parents. Again, I'll get to it in tropes, but, even though she has friends and parents in this, sad Sandra is back and is so sad and can't get her life together because she doesn't have a man.
Yeah, basically her life is quote-unquote sad and pathetic because she orders a lot of Chinese takeout and has to specify that it's only for one person. Also, you can order takeout and have leftovers. That's a thing that people do.
I'm looking at leftovers right now.
Yeah.
But also, who care? Why do you care, Chinese food, man? You are getting the money. That's how restaurants work.
Yeah. It's very strange. But also, from the movie's perspective of, so she has like, I would say, like, working at legal aid, even though it doesn't pay well, is, like, an important job.
Yes, it definitely is.
She has an important job that she's apparently good at, but she is just sad about her lack of social life. Or, like, we're meant to feel bad for her lack of social life. And, like...
Yeah, and,
rather
like,
than
she has
her
this...
friends,
yeah.
just have her live alone.
Yeah,
or,
and
like...
she has this random boyfriend who is never explained. But he lives, I guess, on a Greenpeace ship. So it's never explained at all. Like, he's brought up that he can't come home, and then Hugh Grant knows about him for some reason, so there must have been a cut scene. And then he dumps her because he wants her to go on a ship. And it's so weird. And also, Mark Feuerstein is in there for like half a second in the wedding because all of his scenes got cut. I have no idea what he was supposed to be. But like in the wedding scene, I was like, that's Mark Feuerstein. And then he was gone. So sad for that. But anyway, she's so sad, even though she has a friend who is obviously, what's her face from His Congeniality and You've Got Mail. But that's fun.
Heather Burns. She's amazing. I love her so much.
Fantastic.
No, it's just like a very strangely put together story.
Yeah, like, it's a I'm hot, you're hot. Let's be hot together. Yeah. And that's it.
Too many rewrites or something? I was just looking, I was like, was this written by a bunch of people? But it was only written by one person, but it seems like there was a lot of studio notes or editing after the fact or something.
Yeah, there was like Alicia Witt, who plays this terrible character, said that half the script was written, like 50% of the script was rewrites. And that's like, she really liked her character when she started, and then they turned her into this absolutely horrible person.
Yeah, I know. I was like watching this and I was like, oh, this movie is why I thought I disliked Alicia Witt so much. And now I love her. I think she's an amazing actor and love her a lot. But this movie made me strongly dislike her for a very long time. So strange.
Anyway, so Sandra's there. She's sad. She's a lawyer. Hugh's there. He's playing Hugh in The Yachts. He's a man baby, but he's so charming. But he can't...
He's so charming. He's very rich.
He's very rich, but he can't do anything to save his life for reasons.
Yeah. No, he hires a legal counsel, like chief counsel for his company, to be his mom/wife/ personal assistant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
stylist.
Then hijinks. And then the tipping point is when she leaves her phone not only on, but in the pocket or purse of her bridesmaid's dress, and then answers it during the ceremony. And I'm like, that is your fault, not his.
Yeah. Like have boundaries and enforce them.
Like, I know it's 2002 and cell phones are so awful, another trope, but they have silence options. Like, that's a thing. So just leave it with Mark Feuerstein, at least. Anyway. So then she goes over there because it's an emergency and it's like he needs to pick out a suit. And I was like, you've worked with him for a year and you haven't figured out that, and you're like, you're surprised by this? So again.
Yeah, that his emergencies aren't actual emergencies.
Yeah. And then they go through this whole thing about she's going to quit and replacements and hijinks, and Alicia Witt is there as her replacement and she gets jealous because she's actually in love with him, and then he promises to not tear down the community center, but then his mean brother says they have to, but then he saves the day without any explanation how, and then they kiss. Just
magic. Yeah, they kiss, and Alicia Witt comes in as like both the replacement and also like the stereotypical like woman sleeping her way to the top bullshit. Yeah. It's rough.
Yeah.
But yeah, saved mostly by the charm of the actors.
Of both of them, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the side characters, like I really like her parents, like the actors that played her parents, I think are really funny. They're kind of ridiculous. Like I don't think they're good parents, but they're fun characters.
Yeah, they're fun characters. And Hugh's chauffeur, who is the only black man in there and is therefore his chauffeur and like his paid friend. And at points he has terrible advice about women, but other points he's pretty entertaining about just like dealing with Hugh.
Yeah. And David Haig is as the
Again,
brother
from Four Weddings.
Yeah, I love him so much. So much. He's really great. And I feel bad for Alicia Witt because her character just gets the brunt end of, like, let's make her completely awful and unsympathetic so that people root for this character rather than writing a relationship that people will root for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times. Okay, other observations?
Well, besides, like, we already talked about the Chinese food man, but there is, again, with Sad Sandra, there's a lot of weird overeating thing. Like, we talked about the pooping scene because she overate, even though what she listed wasn't that much, actually. It was 2 hot dogs and cookies. And then also, like, something with her parents. It's like a whole through line that she overeats. And so it's like, again, it's like, it's bad to overeat. Even if you look like Sandra Bullock, you're a bad person. And you'll never get a boyfriend.
It's morally bad, not like...
Bad things will happen to you if you eat 2 hot dogs.
Yeah, and also it's, like, clearly a sign of weakness and or depression, which is also a sign of weakness because it was the early 2000s.
Yes. And mean Chinese food men will yell at you over the phone if you decide to order food. Which, again, like, at that point, she's living with her parents. Like, anyway, whatever. I'm ranting about this. And also, a lady food shamed me at the grocery store this weekend, so I'm, like, extra judgy about it.
For absolutely no reason. I decided it was because she was jealous that Lindsay could actually carry more than 3 items home from the grocery store.
And also, she bought a leek and I bought Cheetos, and who won that round, huh?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Amazing. Okay. Tropes.
Yes. So we start in the credits with baby pictures of actors, and I can't remember what movie it is, but I've 100% seen those photos of Hugh Grant before, so it's definitely something.
Is it maybe about a boy?
Maybe, but I haven't seen About a Boy in a long time. So, but who knows?
I don't know.
We've watched a lot of Hugh Grant movies in the last 2 years, so.
So many. Sandra Bullock is so free-spirited and kooky and quirky and a terrible environmentalist.
She's a terrible environmentalist.
Ugliest headband. The whole movie. It's so ugly. But I also had one kind of like it. It's like stretchy lace wide headband.
Oh, yeah,
thing.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely had one that was like oatmeal colored.
I wrote this down at the beginning, but I don't think it's really true. They're not enemies to lovers. Like, there's the whole thing about how he's an evil man because he wants to tear down all these buildings, and so she should hate him. Like, that's her mother's opinion. And then, but that doesn't really go anywhere except for the community center. Like, that's the only building she seems to care about at all. And then there is different worlds. Like, she's from Brooklyn and, like, grew up in an apartment and blah, 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 and he's very rich, but it doesn't really... Like, it's more Hugh's just random charming jokes. It's not really actually a different world.
Yeah, it's not so
situation.
Much, it's definitely more different worlds than enemies because, like, but also, I guess at the beginning, it's not really enemies, but he doesn't see her as a person. He sees her as
an assistant.
As an assistant.
Yeah.
For a lot of the beginning of the movie, and she sees him as her annoying, terrible boss.
Yeah.
We've got Sad Sandra.
Yeah.
Even though she has a friend and parents and a job that's important at the beginning, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But she's so sad because her boyfriend lives on a Greenpeace ship and broke up with her. I don't know.
And she just can't get her life together for reasons. I don't know. She has an apartment at the beginning, then she moves out of it. So it's not like...
Yeah, I'm not really sure why she moves out of her apartment.
He gives her an apartment. With the job. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then she's back at her parents at the end, which...
Yes. Yeah, when she quits. Yeah, so she's at her parents, and then she's in the apartment, and then she's back at her parents. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hugh Grant playing Hugh Grant in the aughts. I was trying to track it. I don't know what came out first, Bridget Jones or About a Boy, but I feel like that's kind of when he switched from charming, positive man character to charming, slightly edgy man baby.
Yeah,
and that's like kind of how he went in the aughts.
Yeah, definitely the aughts. Like I think it's also like as he grows up.
Yeah, I think so.
So therefore, the characters he's playing, like you think they should have their shit together more, but he's floppy Hugh Grant and requires help dressing himself.
Yes.
So it becomes less charming and a little bit more pathetic.
Yeah. So yeah, he's definitely like, oh, I can't do anything, but I can quip, and I look like Hugh Grant, so it's fine. Yeah. Oh, we've got our random black paid friend / chauffeur who gives questionable advice.
Yes.
As you said, we've got New York, Trope City. We've got the Counting Crows Big Yellow Taxi cover, which I'm just like, how many movies was this in I don't know, 2002? Was it all of them, maybe?
I love it so much. I know it's like so cliched, but it's like one of my, I mean, I love the original, but I really like this cover too. I don't know why.
That's fine.
Yeah. We've got cliched and super judgy parents. Well, mostly the mom's super judgy. The dad's like pretty supportive, but
yeah, but he is super cliched. He like just wants to eat dessert, and she nags him. Yeah. Naggy mom. Yeah, no wonder she like falls for a man baby, because her dad also is a man. Ugh. Yeah, and her mom is so judgy, and she like brings it up as like a thing in her childhood, but it's never paid off. Like it's never like, I did this because I wanted you to be strong, or like there's no ending to it. So I'm just like, so she's just a cliche because you didn't want to write a full character, so you're like, oh, this mom is judgy.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they're shortcut parents for sure.
Okay, yeah, and then the weird romantic helicopter trip where they reveal secrets and make them closer, and oh, it's so romantic, but also like all I could think about was like, Sandra, I thought you cared about the environment, and you're just taking a scenic helicopter ride around New York for no reason whatsoever. If they can bring a helicopter to the random parking lot, they could bring a car.
Exactly. Yeah, they're not that fancy. But there is a fancy party, and it's where the big climax is.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, yeah, I guess it's like the inciting
incident.
Like the beginning of the climax, not the resolution of it.
No, but it's where everything kind of falls apart.
Yeah.
We've got cameos, one we're not going to talk about, and then also Norah Jones is in there, which really marks this in time.
Yeah.
Of just like...
Yeah, the cameo we're not talking about also marks it in time.
Yes.
But, that was a shocker. I was like, what is happening?
I'm so glad you warned me. I just like covered my eyes and made a humming noise, so I didn't have to...
Well, I was like, oh, maybe they just talk about him, but he's not in it. No, he's in it.
He's there.
Anyways. There's a big gesture to win her back, but like, I don't know how. But that doesn't matter, because drama.
Yeah, it's dramatic, and he wins her back, and she says she doesn't say anything really, so he leaves, and then so she runs, but it's literally for a block, but still counts. So, because she like leaps into his arms and kisses him.
Yeah, it is really good running, and then it's like half the block. Yeah. Okay, Lindsay, does this movie pass the Bechdel test?
Like technically,
yeah,
because
like I don't want it to. But...
I don't want it to. She does talk about protesting with Heather, whatever her name is, Perfect Date, and she talks about the job a little bit with her mom before it turns into a conversation about working for him, even though the tangent of just like, I don't understand why they keep saying him, even though he has his brother is in charge of everything.
And also like she's not working for him as like a personal, like she is partially his personal lawyer, like she does his divorce, but also she's like chief counsel of their family company.
Yeah. But anyway.
Like she runs their whole law office of the whole company.
Yeah. But so that's a technical pass. Then she does talk to Heather a few times throughout the movie, but it's mostly about the boys.
Yeah.
But at least she does have a friend who she can talk to, which is a plus for Sandra movies. Yeah. But everything that happens between her and Alicia Witt gives this like a negative F. Like it makes me so mad. They're literally fighting over a fucking stapler, and I'm like, what? I hate this movie
so much. Like the catty, yeah, and it's completely out of character for both.
Yeah, for both of them. Yeah,
it's so weird. Okay, moving on. Let's make a pie.
Okay.
Kookiness, because man, this movie is very kooky.
35, yeah, that's good.
35%, yes. Okay, and then charming Hugh Grant and Sandra Bullock banter.
I think we're only going to give it something high because it's the only thing holding this movie together.
Yes.
Like 35 again? Yeah.
Also 35%? Yes, it basically is kookiness and Hugh Grant
Sandra Bullock
banter.
Yeah.
And then I do really like Sandra Bullock's dress at the gala.
Yeah.
With the black and the sort of sheer gray tulle, like
the tulle is really awesome.
The bottom. Oh man, it's so good.
Her gloves are weird, but that's fine. It's 2002.
Yeah, but it's also it was trying to be like sort of circus dramatic.
Yeah.
Thing.
15?
20? 15?
15.
15.
Yeah. Which leaves
Lindsay. What does that leave us with?
Leaves us with 15, right? Yes. For Chinese takeout. Fucking assholes. This is like, that's literally the one of the two things I remember about this movie. The other thing is Hugh's giant tie, which I could never remember why it was, but he was wearing a giant tie. So like that just
at the gala.
So like that's 20 years of life thinking about this one stupid movie fat shaming me. And fat shaming Sandra Bullock, who looks like Sandra Bullock. And I'm just like, thanks so much.
I
feel great about life. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
What do we think is next for them?
I didn't really think about it because I was so mad about the movie.
Yeah, I also don't care.
But I don't care. I think, again, like they spend a year together, they know each other's quirks and stuff, so I think from that angle,
but I'm like,
maybe, but
I feel bad for her because she's signing up to do like all of the emotional labor in this relationship. Yeah.
It's going to be worse because she's still going to have to do all this random decision making for him and all of that stuff, but also emotional labor and carrying the relationship. So,
yeah. Good times. Okay.
Anyway.
But, Lindsay, what's next for us?
It's Christmas.
Yay!
Hooray! So first up, we'll be watching Something from Tiffany's, which I hope is also filmed in New York because that's pretty important. I can't remember now.
Yeah.
But
I've never seen it.
It's very fun. So, yeah, that'll be fun. And then we've got more Christmas on the Way. What are we doing? Single All the Way. And which I haven't seen, but you've seen.
It's very fun. I liked it a lot.
A fun crossover with Whale Tales watches coming up on our Patreon, featuring some marine mammals. So that will be adorable and ridiculous.
And that brings us to the end of our episode. You can leave us a rating or a review wherever you get your podcasts, and you can also find us on social media. We're at Charts and Hearts Podcast on Instagram and Threads.
You can also head to our website, chartsandhearts.com, where you can submit your suggestions for rom-coms and tropes for us to add to the list. And you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/chartsandheartsclub. For Sandra Month, we did Lost City, which was a lot of fun. Mainly we talked about Daniel Radcliffe and Elijah Wood's careers. Yes, Elijah Wood is not in this movie, but it doesn't matter. It made sense at the time. So you should join us over there to hear our thoughts on those two gentlemen.
We would also always love to know your thoughts on this movie. What are your feelings on Hugh Grant as a terrible boss? And in the meantime, this is Ironclad. Houdini couldn't get out of this contract.